Hello and welcome to Talk to Downtown. My name is Courtney Wood. I'm the Economic Development Director for the Downtown Stockton Alliance, the 501c6 nonprofit property-based business improvement district serving downtown Stockton. This series is intended to connect our business owners, property owners, visitors, and residents with the organizations, people, and resources which impact our community. Today we have special guest Shauna Buzunis-Jacob. She's the Development Director for the Child Abuse Prevention Council of San Joaquin County. We'll begin by having Shauna share a little bit about her background and how it led her to working for the CAPC. Then I'll go through a list of questions that I've outlined for her, and at the end we will open it up for viewers. So if you do have a question, please type it in as a comment and we will get to it towards the end of the live. And with that, I would just like to say welcome, Shauna. Thanks so much for being our guest. I'm really excited to chat with you today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how it led to you working at the CAPC.
Sure, love that. And thank you for having me, Courtney. And we love downtown, so I'll just do that shout out first. We love being one of the businesses downtown. And we are excited to let everybody know about the Child Abuse Prevention Council and what we do here. A little bit about myself. I am the development director here at the Child Abuse Prevention Council. I've been here for about 12 years now, so that's quite a long time. I have grown with the agency. When I first started here, most nonprofits kind of measure themselves on their operating budget. When I first started here, I believe our operating budget was somewhere about $3 million. And this year we'll be in the upwards of $23 million. So a lot of growth has happened.
Yes.
How did I get involved? I don't know. I was supposed to be on a totally different track because I really wanted to be a buyer for a big department store and live in New York, but that is not what happened. My oldest daughter is adopted. It is a kinship adoption. And at the same time that I was going through some family issues like that with trying to adopt her and all of that, I'm a woman of faith, and I was in the purpose-driven life at our church. And I kept saying, okay, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Maybe I should be adopting kids, right? Because that was what some of the other people in the congregation were doing. And I really went in and we got our license to adopt, and we started fostering kids, and we fostered a few, and it was not a good experience for me. And people don't often talk about that, but it was not a good experience for me personally. But my heart was so there and so struggling with those kids. And I was going through this system, I was like, why are they doing it like this? Or people don't understand and all of that. So I really began to see that my spot would be more in advocacy. My spot would be more in the struggles in the system and how to better serve the families and how to walk them through those systems. And so really that's where my heart was. And I started some programs at our church, and I'm going to give a shout out to First Baptist Church in Lodi because they are a great supporter of orphan care and CASA ministry. And we started Safe Families, which is a program through the church that takes in kids that are struggling, but so the parents can fix what they have to fix so that they can get their kids back. And the whole idea is that the child does not go in the system, because once a child goes into a system, CPS, it's really hard to get them out. And so what we want to do, if we have a mom who, for instance, is on a good track, ready to get her life back together, and maybe has to go serve 30 days on a warrant. Well, we don't have to put that child into the foster care system if there's no support for them. So what Safe Families does then is it has families that are already set up within the church that are able to take in that child for 30 days with full intentions that the child is going back with the parent. So I was really involved in that type of thing. And then the Lisa Project, because First Baptist Church was so involved in orphan care ministry, is what we called it back then. Now it's called Families First. But at that time, it was a very big program. And so the Child Abuse Prevention Council knew of some of the programs that were happening there and invited the Lisa Project, which is an exhibit the Child Abuse Prevention Council has regarding child abuse, to visit. And I was really connected to the agency at that time. Lindy Turner Harden, who was our longtime executive director, saw me speaking in front of the congregation and saying, you might not be able to foster adopt, but you can help in some way, and this is how you can help, and really trying to motivate people to get involved, and offered me a job, and there it is. And here I am 12 years later.
Beautiful. Okay, so you've got some real life experience with what some of these children might be going through. and you were just called to do it.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. So, can you tell us now about the origin and mission of the CAPC itself?
Yes, definitely. So we can't start talking about the Child Abuse Prevention Council without talking about LaTanya Smith. And back in the 70s, because yes, we've been around since the 70s. Back in the 70s, there was a child abuse case of a little girl named LaTanya Smith. And LaTanya Smith case was very similar to the Gabriel Fernandez case, where everybody in the community knew about it. Everybody was outraged about it. There weren't the safe holds put in place that we have today back in the 70s. And LaTanya died a brutal death. Her fingers were smashed with pliers. She was 3 years old. She had a broom broken in pieces next to her little body. And she died at the hands of her mother's boyfriend. And I don't mean to be so graphic about that, but I want people to understand that that is what child abuse looks like. And that it can be totally, totally devastating. And that's how the little girl died, by herself, beaten and crippled. And with that, there were certain community members that got together and said, oh my gosh, this cannot happen again. We are better than this. This cannot happen again. And I want to do a shout out to a couple of those people. There are many community partners, but if you guys, since you're downtown Stockton, probably know Doug Wilhoit, who was the president of our Chamber of Commerce for many years. He was actually one of the investigating officers on that case. Wow. And then if you are a longtime Stocktonian, you might know the name Sandra Butler-Smith. Sandra Butler-Smith was actually the prosecuting attorney on that case, later went on in Stockton to be a judge here for many years. But if you talk to longtime Stocktonians, they remember this case very, very much. And so with that, the sheriff's department and other community members got together and said, it can't happen again. We're better than this, and we need to protect our kids and our families. And that's how we came about. Okay.
Thanks for telling us about the origin, a tragic story, and now the advocacy that's kind of come out of that. It's it's good to hear that we're trying to prevent more of that from happening, or from it happening ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what services and programs you guys have in place to support families, children, parents to kind of help with this prevention?
Definitely. So the Child Abuse Prevention Council has many programs, and often people say, we are one of the larger nonprofits here in the community. So it's really hard to explain like every program in detail, and I don't want to bore you with all of that. But how we find it best to describe is that we have three main pillars. There's three main areas that we concentrate on. The first one being early education, and that is Head Start programs. So I don't know if you're familiar with Head Start, but a Head Start program is preschools, and they have a income eligibility. So it's for families that are living under the poverty level. Our preschool program, when we are fully enrolled, we can see about 900 students a day. So that's a pretty large program. And what that does is that allows us to work with 900 low-income families. And I want to make it clear that just because you're low income does not mean that you are going to abuse your kids. That is not it across the board. Child abuse can happen to everybody. But when you are living under that poverty level, you have a lot more stressors in your life, a lot more stressors. Where's rent coming from? Where's food coming from? Is my job, what's going on with my job? Do I have a job? All of these things that can compound. And so really what the idea of the Child Abuse Prevention Council is to strengthen the families. The stronger we can get the families, those chances of child abuse go down. So when we have 900 families that are living under the poverty level that we're able to go in and assist, whether that be with helping the kiddos through the preschool process, maybe even IEPs, that's independent education plans that will follow them into school. It's hard to navigate some of these things when you're maybe English second language, when maybe you've had trauma in your life or you're going through a trauma in your life. So being there and being that trusted resource to help them through those things, as well as, do you have enough food in the house? Do you qualify for Section 8 housing? All of these assistance programs that we can go in and offer them. And that's kind of our early childhood education department. The second one is our mental health department. And we do specialize in kiddos 0 to 5. We do contract behavioral health here in our county. And so a lot of those kids that are in that 0 to 5 age range are probably coming to one of our centers for counseling. Also, under our mental health programs, we offer suicide prevention. We carry the grant for the county for that. And so we're on school campuses really talking to our kiddos about suicide and suicide ideation and what that looks like. Really forming bonds with them. We do a lot of peer training because, as you know, Courtney, the kids on the campus know way better than we do about what's going on the campus. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out different groupings of those children, like maybe back in my day, because I'm old, but like the jock or the drama girl or the cheerleader or whatever it may be. And we're pulling out those different peer groups so that we can train them so that they know how to react when there's something going on that campus. And then we have adults, obviously teachers that are trained as well, but really empowering them to recognize those signs and see what's happening there. We have another program in there that I'd like to highlight, which is our TAY program, which stands for Transitional Age Youth. And that's really working with kiddos 16 to 25, probably aren't on track to go to college, but still have goals, and they still need to learn how to adult. And how do you do that if you don't have the support systems in your family or with your friends or things like that? And so really having our people come in and work with them. We call them the 21 Jump Street of our agency because they're the super fun ones. Yeah, so they're super fun, and they're a younger group, and they go out and they're talking to the kids and really meeting with them wherever they are in the community so that we can help them achieve their goals as well. And then there's some school-based programs. So we do have mental health on many of our school campuses. So that's kind of the mental health part of it. And then there's one more part. I told you it was a lot. I feel like I'm talking. This is an interview. I feel like it's a monologue.
It's good.
Let me
tell us.
The third one there is our what we call our family interventioning or family strengthening programs. And we do work very closely with Child Protective Services on this. So when CPS gets a call, they kind of rank those calls. And if it's, let's say it's a 1 or 2, then CPS goes out and finds out what happened. If it's ranked somewhere lower, it's outsourced to one of 3 or 4 agencies here in San Joaquin County. And we do what's similar. They're a lesser degree of a case, but we'll be going in and meeting with those families to find out what's going on with them. Want a quick story?
Yes.
Okay. We had a family that a gentleman called in on this family that was living under him in an apartment complex and was like, I really need you guys to come out here. She's not feeding the kids and you got to come out and find out what's going on. The kids are crying. They're hungry. And we're like, okay. So we go out and we find out that she's on assistance. So she's not getting her next check till maybe the next day or even the following day. And so immediately we're like, why aren't you going to the food bank? San Joaquin County has amazing food banks. Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't understand that some of the food banks, you can't just drop in to get food. You have to sign up or you have to go during certain hours. In her case, she lived kind of in the rural area of San Joaquin County. And she was taking buses and different bus stops with 3 kids in tow. And it was a lot.
Oh my gosh.
So what we do then is we literally walked out her front door and said, okay, what's around here? And in this case, there was a church a couple blocks down. And I'm just quite literally walk over and knock on the door of the church. Hi, do you have a food bank? Yes, we do. And then we put her in touch with the food bank. So what we're doing is we're helping her create resources. So the next time she runs out of food, law enforcement doesn't get called. CPS doesn't get called. She's not a strain on an already strained system. She can come to us for help. She can go to the church. We're creating those resources. We're creating that sense of community for her that she can get these things taken care of, right? So that she doesn't get her kids taken away or anything like that. Then when she's out of that immediate trauma that she's going through, because needing food in your house is a trauma, what we do is we go back and we say, okay, well, why are you running out of money? Do you qualify for Section 8 housing? Do you qualify for utility assistance? Do you need a copy of your Social Security card and you don't know how to do it or how to get that? I mean, it's really difficult, especially if you're in the middle of a crisis, to be trying to figure out the systems of our community. And so what we do then is really start working with them and giving them smaller goals. weekly goals, and we'll work with them. And again, that idea, just strengthen them, get them to a stronger point than they were when we first met them. And that's what we do in that program. So family intervention is a great program. And then the only other one that I'm going to talk about is one more, is our CASA program. And I'm probably going to leave that and maybe talk a little bit more about that at the end, because our CASA program is amazing. And it really is dealing with the foster youth here in our county.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for that story. And thanks for the kind of overview of the 3 categories of programs that you guys have going on. You're doing so much. You're so busy. Thank you. And are all of your services free?
Most of them are free, especially if you're on Medi-Cal or below the poverty level type of thing. But some of them, there are a fee-based scale, depending. So if you make a little bit, we might charge a little bit. But I do not want that to deter anybody from calling us. Please call us. We will get you the help you need. We will figure it out. Don't let that ever be a reason not to call and ask for help.
Beautiful. Yes, here's a resource.
Yes.
And can you tell us now about your role particularly in the organization? Like, what are your responsibilities in all of this?
So I am the development director, and I laugh because still to this day, my parents have no idea what I do.
That's how it is.
Like, now what do you do again? It kind of means that I have my hands in everybody's business. That's what I tell my coworkers. That's why I just have my hands in everybody's business. The development director, what we do is, usually if you have a nonprofit, you have an operating budget, obviously. And there are certain categories of funding that come in that are restricted or non-restricted. Like, I'm going to work with this preschool. These funds are coming in for that preschool, and those are restricted funds. But as you know, being in business, or ever run a business, there are lots of other things that kind of go into having a successful company. Or there are things that we would like to add to enhance programs that aren't covered in these contracts. And so part of my job is to figure out how to raise that shortfall of funding. So that's part of it. Donor relations, public relations. I also oversee our marketing department, so making sure that everything is branded correctly, and that all of our programs are putting their best foot forward, and not letting, weird stuff sneak through. But all of that's kind of what a development director does. Lots of donor relations.
Beautiful. And in this position, what's the most common question you're asked?
What does a development director do? Literally, that is
like, who are you? What do you do? You're like, this is basically a little bit of everything. A lot of hats.
Exactly. That is
as
exactly.
It is with most nonprofits. That's kind of how it goes.
True.
And so you kind of shared one story with us already. In your experience, how else have you seen the work of the CAPC have such an impact in the community, the work that you're doing? Are there any other, stories you might like to share of just how this is having such a wonderful impact on those people who need help?
Right. I think that this is a really great time to talk about CASA now.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's talk about CASA, because truly, I think my heart is so in our CASA program. CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. This is a mentoring program working with foster youth in San Joaquin County. If you're not aware, in San Joaquin County, we have about 1,500 kiddos in our foster care system. And there are very tragic statistics that follow our foster youth. And I want to make it clear. First, I'm going to share those statistics with you, but let me do that first. 50% of our kiddos probably won't graduate from high school. So think about that for a second. You take, 750 kids with no education and you drop them into Stockton, what's going to happen? Right? Crime's going to go up, gang violence, all the things. Teen pregnancy, which is another one. In San Joaquin County right now, our girls that are pregnant, 71% of our young girls will be pregnant by the age of 21. Sorry, I was fumbling that. Again, 50% won't graduate from high school. 1 in 5 will be homeless after the age of 18. That's crazy. That means that this population is really driving a lot of our social issues. But what I really want to make clear, is that that doesn't have to happen. It takes one person. One person in these kids' lives can change the whole trajectory of their life. So I don't want people to think just because they're a foster child that they have all this doom and gloom. No, it's just that they're going to need a little more help. And that's what the CASA program does. So the CASA program, if people are familiar with Big Brothers Big Sisters program, mentoring program, it's similar to that, but carries a lot more weight. These volunteers go through about 30 hours of training, but it's really interesting training because you're really learning about the systems and how children are in the systems. And then what happens is they get sworn in as an officer of the court. And that is because the CASA program, the judge is looking at the foster youth and saying, okay, this child maybe isn't handling all this movement so well, or this child is needing extra help in school, or this child needs somebody to help follow them through the system because I know there's going to be a lot of movement here. The CASA volunteer becomes the only person in that child's life that is not paid to be there. Wow. And just think about that for a second. What if everybody in your life was paid to be there? That's a horrid thought, right? So our CASA volunteers go in and they meet with our kiddos. They spend about an hour or 2 hours a week with them. I always tell our faith-based community, can you take a foster kid to lunch after church on a Sunday? Really, that's the only commitment there is. And then what we do is they learn how to do court reports and things like that. But we walk with them every step of the way. And with that 2 hours a week, they build those bonds with those kids. And they really just become that advocate for that child. They become the voice of that child. And that's what our kiddos need. They need a voice. They need somebody in that system that knows what they like or what they want. So you want to hear a story?
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry. I love my stories. So we had a child that we were working with. I believe she was 13 when she came into the CASA program, and she loved horses. But she was what we called at that time, this was many years ago, but she was deemed unadoptable, which means that we don't even try to find her a home because she was having so many issues. In her case, she was a runner, so she ran away from all her foster homes. So at that point, this is back when we still had some group homes, she was staying there and had a CASA volunteer. So the CASA was meeting with her, and every time the CASA met with her, she would come back and say, this girl loves horses. She is like crazy about horses, right? She had never rode a horse or anything, but was just fascinated with horses. And so what happened after many of these conversations was the CASA volunteer went to the judge and said, listen, I think we should try it one more time. Let's try to put her into a foster family that has a farm or has horses. And they did find her one up in the foothills, and they put her there. And 2 years later, at the age of 15, they asked to adopt her, which is crazy because you do not get adopted at 15. And I mean, just how life-changing is that? And that is the power of the CASA. The CASA is that person, is that advocate for that child. So it's just a great story.
That's such a beautiful story. How touching is that? I hope she went on to live a really happy life,
Great
through the family. So who can be a CASA if anyone's interested?
Yeah, anybody can be a CASA, and you can visit us at nochildabuse.org/CASA. And I know you'll have all the information at the end, but just in case while we're talking, if anybody wants to look it up. So the CASA program, what you'll do is you will call, you'll have an informational meeting to make sure it's a good fit on both sides. And then you'll go into some training. Like I said, the 30 hours, 15 of it is online at your own leisure, and the other 15 is in a group, and you'll have a cohort. So you're not by yourself. You have other people that are going through the process with you. And then once you graduate from that, you go to the courthouse and get sworn in. And at that point, you come back and we'll have some files laid out for you. And we want that match to be good for you as well as good for the child. So we'll give you some children that you might want to pick from and start changing their lives. And that's how it works.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds like a good opportunity to really make a difference, in these children's lives. So if anyone listening is interested, take advantage of that opportunity. Yes. Okay, so speaking of us as members of the community, what should we be looking out for in order to do our part to help keep children in our community safe? Are there certain signs that we should be looking for? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. Thanks for asking. So I'm going to list off a few signs of child abuse, but I like to keep in mind that with these signs of child abuse, every child is different. So when I say somebody might go, I think one of them, ours is that they might, if they're outspoken, they'll start being introverted. But that might be the opposite. If they're introverted, they might start acting out. So things like that to look for in kiddos. But let me go through a little list that we use all the time. One of them is unexplained injuries. And you'll see this is what the doctors are looking at when they're coming in there. Are they consistent injuries? If they say they fell off the bike, does that really look like an injury of somebody that fell off a bike? Things like that. Behavioral changes, which I was just talking about. Is their mood or their personality changing? If they're withdrawal or being depressed, or like I said, they go the opposite direction and all of a sudden they're outbursting and things like that. If they're fearful of a specific person or place, that's usually a great sign too. Like they don't want to go to Uncle Johnny's house for some reason, whatever it may be. That might be it. Regression, especially in our youth, if they've been potty trained for a long time and all of a sudden they're not anymore, that might be a sign. Changes in school performance. A lot of times deterioration of academic performance, or they just totally lose interest in school and they were a great student before, something like that. And then you'll start getting into the emotional side of things. Anxiety is a big one. Depression, fear, sadness, things like that. They're really going to be living in that tense trauma, that trauma world. And what does that look like and how does that manifest on their person? Because we have the suicide prevention program, we see a lot of suicidal tendencies that are based on kiddos that have had, excuse me, that have had some type of trauma. And so self-destructive behaviors we'll start to see in our kiddos. Maybe lack of supervision. Neglect is a big piece of child abuse. And if you notice that mom and dad are never there, maybe they're too young to be left by themselves, they're not clean, lack of hygiene, all of those things might play in. And then also be looking at our parents, and don't want to blame parents or anything like that, but sometimes lack of concern for a child's well-being. They're dirty, they're fine, it's fine, they don't need that, or whatever. A caregiver who refuses to acknowledge or seek medical care is a different one too. She's fine, it's not broken, it's fine, and then we find out that it is broken and all those things. So those are some of the signs. I pick 10 usually that I share with people. But like I said, it's just knowing the changes in that personality.
Thank you. Thanks for giving us, some things to look out for. And when it comes to, deciding to report, what do you think is the best policy? Some people might be hesitant to report unless they have seen it with their own eyes,
Right.
But then children may not get help as soon as they need to. So what do you think is a good rule of thumb for deciding whether or not to report?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, if you feel a child is in danger at any time, call 911. That's how I like to start everything. If you think they're in danger, call 911. If you don't know really what to do, you can always go to nochildabuse.org and look. We have a couple different items on our website. We'll give you a clue on which direction to go. If you feel something is happening though, and you want to make a Child Protective Services, a CPS call, I recommend that you do it. It's not your job to figure out if they're guilty or innocent. We have professionals that work at CPS that do that very well. It's your job to report. So when you see something, say something. Don't worry about if they're guilty or innocent. That is not your job. Your job as a community member is to report.
Thank you. I think that gives us a lot of, confidence to just at least say something if we do notice anything that's just a little off. Thanks for giving everyone that tip. Just call if you're thinking something might be going on. You might as well make the call because you might save someone's life. So if you've decided, yes, I feel like something's going on, maybe at an apartment across the street or wherever, and you decide you do want to make this report, how can you do that? And can you remain anonymous? What is that process like?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great question. So you can call Child Protective Services, and I will give you that number right now. It's 209-468-1333. And
Okay.
you can call CPS. What they're going to ask is try to get as much information as you can. The child's name would be great, which apartment they're living at in the example you just gave. What are the instances that are coming up? What are the red flags that you're seeing? Any conversations? Maybe jot that down before you call, just so you have it fresh in your mind, because you're probably going to be a little nervous when you're calling. Although they're really great and they'll walk you through the process. But you can remain anonymous. Sorry. So just make sure that you have as much information as you can get.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, and we'll definitely put that number up. Let's see. Oh, it's right here at the bottom in case anyone, needs to memorize that number or write it down. It's right there scrolling by. And now I just want to ask, for the children who themselves are experiencing abuse, is this also the number that they should be calling? Is that what you recommend for them?
They could, if they're of teenage, they can feel free to call and voice their concerns to Child Protective Services. CPS is there to help them and protect children, just as it says. But there are other programs too, because I don't think most kiddos recognize that they're being abused. For many of them, this is their normal. This is what is happening every day, and they're not aware that not everybody is living a life in trauma or drama or abuse that's happening. And so really what we do is we go into the high schools, and then we have the Lisa Project too, which I'll talk about in a minute, but it's our exhibit about child abuse. And really it's that educational piece. And we're in the high schools and we're in the elementary schools, and we're trying to really educate the kids. So we start in preschool. So all of our preschools, we start education on what are your private parts and good secrets, bad secrets. And then as we have different, it's called Pinwheels for Prevention. And then we have different prevention programs that go up into first grade through third grade, talking about, again, private parts, good secrets, bad secrets. And then here we get a little bit more into, strangers, and the stranger might not be the creepy guy in the van. The stranger might be Uncle John. And how, if you're not feeling safe and you feel icky or whatever that may be, what does that look like, and what do you do, and how do you find a trusted adult in your life? And then we go up into that third through fifth or sixth grade, talking about the same thing, only now we're bringing in a little bit about bullying. We're bringing a little bit about cyber safety and all that. And then by the time we get to middle school, we are full on, let's talk about human trafficking. Let's talk about child abuse. Let's talk about the different ways that people might try to manipulate you, all of those things. So again, talking to them about who are those safe adults, who can you turn to? Do you have a friend? Do you know you're seeing signs of trafficking in your friend? What do you do? So really, it's not that one thing for our kiddos. We look at it as it's an education piece that we're running through. And if you're work in the PTN or a school or anything like that, you can call us. We do those programs for free in the school. Awesome. So just give us a call. We'll make sure that we get out there, and then really having parent groups as well. So we'll go in and talk to parent groups. And then when we get to the high schools, we're full on the Lisa Project, which is our exhibit about child abuse. And we're taking them by the hand and walking them through what abuse looks like in different scenarios, and really making it a powerful statement that they remember.
Wow. I think that's so great, just hearing about all this education and how it's tailored to like what the kinds of things are that someone might encounter, as they're growing up. Right. It's so important, because if you know what that looks like, then you can know better to call it out instead of just dealing with it, just like not realizing that something's wrong. So that's beautiful. I hope that we can get you in all the schools. If there are any teachers listening or administrators, let's invite the CAPC to your school, to get this education to your students. Awesome. Okay, so how about, for survivors of child abuse, what can the community do to support them? Once it's over, there's still a lot of trauma they're dealing with.
Right. Obviously, counseling is going to be great. Right now, the CAPC has a program for adults that maybe have had some trauma in their background. And what we're doing is that is free counseling that will go for any of our adults. We're trying to increase the funding on that, but the funding streams are changing a little, which is like the life of a nonprofit here. But we do have it available right now. And what we do is really want to break those generational cycles of abuse. So if we can bring kiddo in and talk to them about what's going on, and then bring the parent in as well, we can really have a stronger family, because we're dealing with all aspects of the family. So that's one thing. If you encounter somebody in your friend or relative or anything like that, there are some different supports that we ask that people look at for survivors. One of the most important one is listen and believe them, because it has probably taken them a lot of courage to come up or to bring this up to you. Yeah. And people will often be like, are you sure that's what happened? Are you sure you didn't misinterpret that? Things like that. And we really want to make sure that we're being non-judgmental and giving them a really safe place to share what they're going through. Another one is encourage that professional help, like I said, because that's really going to start peeling off those layers and getting back to the root of that problem, or the instance or the trauma. Another one is respect their choices. Understand that they may be coping or dealing with this in a different way, and this will be a process. So don't get frustrated when you recommend something and maybe they haven't called yet or they haven't done it. This has to be their journey, and being there and being supportive of that. Be patient. Like I said, it is a gradual process, and some people take years to heal. So that's good. Empowering them too. When you're being abused, it's really a sense of power. It's really a sense of that abuser taking the power from you. And so you see that in domestic violence and human trafficking. It is the same with child abuse. So what we want to do is we really want to give them that sense of control. Like, I'm here to assist you, and how can I do that? And what would you like to do? What are the choices that you would like to make? What really empowering them and putting that back on them to start pulling back some of that control in their life. And then respect their boundaries too. If they don't want to go into all the gory details, just because they're confiding in you does not mean that you have the right to ask those questions. And that we find that a lot in foster care as well. Because, and I'll just kind of side note here, in foster care, we always are saying, hey, come help the foster families, or, maybe go mow their lawn, take them meals, whatever it may be. Well, they're dealing with the foster youth that are coming in their house that have probably had a trauma. And then to have somebody think, well, I'm going to mow their lawn, so I'm going to ask them all these questions about that kid. And is that a drug baby? And is that this and that? Whoa.
Yeah. You're supposed to be helping. Yeah,
Exactly. So there has to be boundaries there. So I just really like to bring that up if you're dealing with anybody in any kind of trauma. And then educate yourself. Learn about child abuse, learn about trauma and what it looks like. Those would be probably my main support for survivors.
Wonderful. So really validate them, validate their experience, respect their boundaries, respect their choices. I love that. Just be that supportive, safe space for them.
Right.
Wonderful. So if there was just one important message regarding child abuse prevention or recovery that you think you would like people to take away from this video, what would that be?
I think we've already touched on a little bit, and that is, don't think, well, I don't know. So report, I guess, would be it. If you think anything is wrong, report. I think that's the number one, because that's the only way we're going to keep our kiddos safe. Many of them are helpless in these situations, and many of them are young, and we are those people that are watching out for them, our community, your neighbors, your family members even. I mean, if you see something that you think is wrong, report it. Again, can't say it enough times. You don't have to prove guilt or innocence. That's not your job. Your job is to report. So just being mindful of the kids around you and the community around you.
Thank you. And so people listening, they might be inspired to be a part of your mission. And do you have any job openings or volunteer opportunities available right now at your organization?
Yes, we do. And you can go to our website and look for all of our job opportunities. We have a lot open in our early childhood education department, and then in our mental health, because we do a lot of counseling and things like that. So we are looking for bachelor and master's level mental health providers, that type of thing. Also, if you want to get involved, CASA CASA is a great way to get involved. It's a volunteer program, like we said, 2 hours a week, and really so impactful, can totally change somebody's whole entire life. I mean, just think of the power there. You have the power to change
their life.
Yeah. So that's a great way to
It's
get
beautiful.
Yeah.
You might be that one anchor for them, that they really need to just move forward and fly. I love that. Is there anything else that people can do to support your organization? So I know you do accept donations. Do you have fundraisers or anything else, any other ways that the community can get involved?
Yeah, definitely. So we do 2 main fundraisers a year. Our one that's coming up recently is the Ducky Derby. And our Ducky Derby is our 10th annual Ducky Derby. Woo! So excited. Our Ducky Derby is usually in May, and you guys are getting the inside scoop because next week it will be announced that it is moving to August because we have we've been invited to join Lincoln Center on their Family Summer Fest. And so our Ducky Derby is going to be featured at Lincoln Center in their Summer Fest, where they close down portions of the parking lot at Lincoln Center, and they have all kinds of activities for kids. And that will be our Ducky Derby this year. So we're really excited. But you can go to CAPC Ducks. Ducks.org. Hold on. I know. Yes. Hold on. I'm scooching away. Hold on.
Okay.
Should have known that. I'm back. Okay.
You'll find it.
CAPCducks.com. And we just opened duck sales because we know some of our people have events in May, and so they still want to get those ducky sales in, but the drawing won't be until August. But what you do is you make a $5 donation and you get pretty much a raffle number. And then what happens is in August, we'll have that big drawing. First place wins $2,000 thanks to Chase Chevrolet, who donates that. And then second place, $1,000, and third place, $500. And then we have other great prizes as well. But that is a really great, easy way to get involved.
$5. Come on.
And you can also get your organizations or your companies to donate or to come in and sell ducks. For instance, we have a big duck sales F&M Bank in Lodi, across San Joaquin County. They do a competition between their branches on who can sell the most ducks for the Child Abuse Prevention Council.
How cute.
Chick-fil-A is another great sponsor, Food for Less. So I just like to bring those 3 up because those are large companies that are really supporting that work through that Ducky Derby. And your company can do that too. So just call us and we'll get you all the stuff you need. We'll give you all the ducks, all the things, and you can sell ducks in order to support child abuse prevention. So that's the Ducky Derby. And then we have CASA, which we've talked in length about, our CASA Superhero Run, which will be at the end of September. And CASA, because every kid deserves a hero, but foster youth deserve a superhero. And so we have a superhero run that will be at Lodi Lake. And again, that one. And then we do another event, but it's not a fundraiser. Those are the only 2 fundraisers. Then we do one other event, which is our Walk for Life, which is in September. September is Suicide Prevention Month, and that's to walk in remembrance of those who have died by suicide. So families can come out, or if you have friends or family who have been affected in that way, to come on out and support them. And it's a great day.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful opportunities. And are there any other trainings or services or programs, that you want to talk about that are coming up this year?
Yeah. So 2 things. We talked a little bit about Pinwheels for Prevention, so I do want to just plug that again. And you can always call me even directly if you're interested in that, or check our website. That's the Pinwheels Prevention, and that is the educational programs that go through the county. So we really like people to get involved in those. We also do suicide prevention trainings, and we will do those for your companies for free. So really, that is a great training to take advantage of as well. And then we do have, let me grab my notes, Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is coming up in April.
Yay.
And I'm going to read off a couple ways that you guys can get involved in Child Abuse Prevention Month. And if you call me or go to our website, you can see all of this there as well. But you can come visit the Lisa Project, which I talked earlier about, which is our exhibit about child abuse. What a great day to get your friends together. It's by appointment. So you just call us and say, hey, I got like me and 5 friends, and we're going to come over and check it out. And you can book it through us, or bring your office for Child Abuse Prevention Month, and take your office, especially if you're downtown. We're on California Street. walk. You can go have lunch downtown, walk on over, and
Check it out.
see the Lisa Project. Also, you can go blue. I'm going to do a shout out to Collins Electric. They go blue for us in April. If you'd like to change the lights in your business or your entryway to go blue for April, we'd love that. Take pictures. We'll do a big social media campaign for you there. Also, Wear Blue Day, which will be April 5th. And you guys can take pictures, have your offices wear blue, and then we'll be doing social media on that as well. The Child Abuse Prevention Month recognition from the Board of Supervisors will be on April 9th. You can show up at the Board of Supervisors and support. And we have some kiddos that show up over there and really explain or show why it's so important that we are working with child abuse prevention. Blue Sunday is another one. That's for our faith-based community. If you have a church that would like more information on Blue Sunday, it is usually the last Sunday of April, and we will set up tables. We will love pulpit time to come in and really talk about what a church can be doing, what the faith-based community can be doing during Child Abuse Prevention Month. That's a great way to get involved. Pinwheels for prevention, as I mentioned earlier, we also have coin canisters and can do coin drives. So if you'd like for the month of April to put a coin canister on your register to collect, just give me a call. We'll get those over to you. Plant pinwheel gardens. We'll get you pinwheels. All the things. So make sure you check our website, but that's just a few of them that I mentioned to you there.
Yeah, you guys are doing so much. So April, join in. Anyone who's watching, listening, there's lots of opportunities to get involved, do your part to support the Child Abuse Prevention Council and all the beautiful work that you guys are doing. Okay, so we love having the CAPC in downtown Stockton. And I wanted to just ask, in your own words, what do you think makes downtown such a great location for the CAPC?
Why do we love downtown? It is just the proximity of everything for us, especially for our clients, because we happen to be right across from the bus station. So pretty much any of our clients can get to the bus station. So that's A. But you know what? We love downtown because of the energy and the atmosphere. You'll see us walking. A few of us walk every once in a while, when I got my walking shoes. Yeah. So we can walk down here. We can stop and have coffee. Just the energy of the downtown, I think is what we like, or I like the most.
Yeah, it's very, bustling during the week, especially, So speaking of coffee, do you have a favorite downtown Stockton coffee or lunch spot that you'd like to share? Yeah.
So, part of being the development director is you're taking people out to lunch all the time. So we do frequent many of our restaurants downtown here, Fed, all of those places when I'm taking people to lunch and things like that. But I want to shout out Alfalfa's because that is and I don't know how many shout outs they get for downtown, but Alfalfa's has been here for so long and they do such a great job and great sandwiches. And if I'm just in my office and I just need to get out for a second, that is where I'm going to go. I'm going to walk down, I'm going to grab a soda, a bag of chips, whatever it may be, get a sandwich. Now they have an ice cream shop in there.
Yes.
So,
dangerous.
Papa Herbs is another one. We go there all the time. So yeah, any of those that we love. So
I love it. Yeah, I love Alfalfa's pizza. And I love that they have it by the slice too. Yeah. So you can just have a little one if you don't want a whole one. Yeah. Totally. Okay, so you with all the work that you're doing and the importance of the work that you're doing, I'm sure there's times that you just need to kind of take a walk outside, maybe just take a little fresh air, a little mental health break maybe. Where is that place that you go to when you're looking for that little break in downtown?
Right. A lot of times if I'm going to walk or get a soda, I'll go to Alfalfa's or somewhere just right on the block that we're on. But what's really cool is a lot of people don't realize we have 3 locations all in the downtown vicinity. So we are in the Newberry building. That is our court-based programs and our admin. And then on California Street, which is kind of on the outskirts of downtown, but still there, is our Lisa project. And then what a lot of people might not know is we have another location on Main, which is just downtown too. And so usually what I'm going to do is I'll be walking from location to location.
Just taking a walk, getting some steps in, absorbing the atmosphere.
Exactly.
Love it. Love that you have that connectivity as well. Okay. So we're about to wrap up as far as my questions go. Are there any other parent or child support services that you want listeners to know about? Maybe it's not exactly through the CAPC, but it's just a resource that you think it's important for people to understand is out there.
Right. I'm going to do a shout out for 211, which I'm sure they've been on your, might have been on your before. 211, you can call or you can go online to 211. And that is really great information. If you need housing or you need food, you can get on your phone and you can put food bank around me and it will get you that housing, supportive services, childcare, all the things. And I really think that should be on every caseworker's screen all the time is 211, so you can really look at what is available in this community, because we do have a lot of great resources. And I think that really what we need to do as a community is really be aware of not recreating the wheel, but using the resources that we have here in this community, because we have some really, really amazing organizations.
It's so true. And yes, we did have 211 on, and I think it is eye-opening just to see, all of the things that are out there. So yeah, if there's any issues, what a great resource to shout out, Shauna. Thank you. Okay. And so my last question before we go to the audience questions, as a reminder, if you do have any questions for Shauna, feel free to type it in as a comment, and we're about to get to that segment. But how can people get in touch with you if they have any further questions about anything that you've talked about today?
Yeah, so you can go to nochildabuse.org. If you go to the find our staff or whatever, I'm there. My email, my phone number, everything is there. I'll do a quick shout out of my email if you want that. It is S as in Sam, B as in boy, Jacob at nochildabuse.org. So SB Jacob at nochildabuse.org. Again, the website, my direct line is 209-644-5318. Again, that's 209-644-5318. And really, if you don't know where to start, but you know that we might be able to help, feel free to give me a call. I will definitely point you in the right direction.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you, Shauna, so much for answering all of my questions. Are you ready for the audience questions? See if there are any. Okay. All right. Let's see what we've got. All right. Okay. So this question, it's from Sean Chats. He's asking, what are some ways the CAPC collaborates with schools, medical professionals, and social services to create a more comprehensive support system for at-risk children and families? So you kind of talked about you do a lot of work in schools. Is there anything else that might kind of help address this question?
Right. So, excuse me. Yes. So we're in the schools. We're in many of the school districts. And then if you would like us in a school, let us know. If we're not there, we will research it and do the work and find out. Excuse me. We also are, which I really didn't talk about much, was our Parent Cafe, which is a parenting network. It's not a parenting class, but it's parents that we get together, because some parents might have some of the answers and all the parents don't have all the answers, right? So we can get together. So we really team with the different organizations around the county in order to put those in different places: housing development, school campuses, all of that. So we really are teaming with them to bring this sense of community to our community. Our medical professionals are right now, St. Joseph's and Kaiser are implementing our Child Abuse Prevention Month. So they will be posting information about that and have that up for their people, and we give them pinwheels and all of that. So I think and then we contract with HSA, behavioral health, and all of that. So we really have, it's that whole development thing. We've got our fingers in everybody's business. But if there is a place or you work somewhere that you think we would be a good fit, please give me a call and let me know. We'll look into that.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you for your question. And this is a comment from Johnny Palacios. He says, looking forward to the next Ducky Derby. I wish it was still a downtown.
I know. I'm sorry. We needed to find out.
Maybe next one. There you go. Okay. This is a comment from Mike Huber. It says, hi, Shauna. You guys do great work. Thank you. We are happy CAPC is our downtown neighbor. Aw.
Mike. We love you guys too. You're doing amazing stuff and supporting us. We appreciate that.
Yay. Oh, it's another. So we've got another question from Mike. He's asking, does your organization work with other agencies like Parents by Choice? That's a good question. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah. We love Parents by Choice. Tony is awesome. He's ED over there. Parents by Choice. So we cross collaborate on some of our foster care, I won't say issues, programs. So we work with them there. We also are very aware of, they do the downtown, I can't think of it right now. You probably know, Courtney, the downtown where they have all the tables out.
Like Main Street Market?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like Main Street Market and all those things that they host. We make sure that we're very involved there. The Lisa Project has been over there before, and they've had that on display for a couple of their events. So yeah.
Collaboration. And, speaking on this topic, I noticed on your site that First Five San Joaquin was like mentioned in a lot of places. How do you partner with them? I'm just curious now thinking.
Yeah, we do a lot of our home-based programs are through First Five. So those are programs that work with moms that might be pregnant, and then when they have the baby. And what that is, the home-based program is going in and really offering support to maybe either young moms or moms that don't have a support system. I have 3 daughters. I know when I was pregnant, I'd call my mom, oh my gosh, is this normal or whatever, or what should I be doing? And then when your baby's first born, oh my gosh, are you not thinking you're going to if they're going to die every day? I just thought, oh my gosh, it's not going to work out well for my child. So who do you go to if you don't have a support system like that? And so these are where the home-based programs come in, and they can really go in and support them and let them know the importance of nutrition for your baby and routine and immunizations and all of those things. So it really becomes a support system for them.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you need that. You need a little advice from someone who's been there before. That's what you need. Beautiful. Okay, so this is our last comment that I can see here. It's from Johnny Palacios again. He says, I went to see the Lisa Project many years ago when it was at 125 Bridge Place. It was eye-opening, to say the least. What else can you tell us about the Lisa Project? I know you've mentioned it. Is like, how have you seen the reactions to that be, and like what impact has that had on people who visited?
Right. Really, the Lisa Project is the why. So when you say the why of the Child Abuse Prevention Council, that's the why. We wanted to figure out, how do we take somebody's hand and walk them through the experiences that we are seeing every day? What does that look like? How do we do that? And we came up with the Lisa Project. And so I didn't get too much into detail, but it is an exhibit. It's sight, sound, and smell. So you walk in and you have an iPod on and you walk through and you're hearing different messages and you're walking through different rooms of houses. And what these are actual rooms that we've been in when being inserted into our child abuse. And so really what we're doing is we're looking at those rooms and we're going through and we're taking you by the hand and we're helping you to experience what these kids are, what they're going through. And a lot of our community uses it as a training ground. I know that Stockton PD has their cadets go through it sometimes. We have nursing programs that are always coming through. HSA, CPS, they use it as a training ground. If you have an organization that is working in as a mandated reporter, it's a really great idea to come through. Law enforcement does it because they don't want, when that officer walks into that house in that situation, they don't want that to be their first experience with it. They can have where they've already processed that, they'll be much more likely to be able to offer more helpful assistance. So, yeah.
Wow. So very impactful. And can you remind us the dates of when that will be available to walk through?
Yeah. So the Lisa Project is a full exhibit and it's open by appointment. So if we ask if you have a group, 5, 6, it doesn't even matter. It can be 1 or 2 people. If you want to come by and see it, just call us and we'll make you an appointment to come see it.
Oh, so it's running year round, like anytime. Wow. Okay. How awesome that you guys have that.
No excuse not to come see the Lisa Project.
Exactly. Come out and learn.
Yes.
Okay. So that was the last question I have from the audience. I wanted to just now ask Shauna, is there anything else that you'd like to share with viewers about the work that you do, the CAPC, or just anything else that you'd like to share before we close out today?
I just want to say thank you. And thank you so much for giving us a platform to talk about what we do. And with that, I really think that that is the important piece, is just educating the community. If you or your viewers have any place that they would like us to go speak or talk about services or talk about foster care or human trafficking or any of the things, we would be happy to come out and do that. I know we go to Rotary clubs and Lions, but if you have like an all-staff meeting or you have a group of teenage girls that you get together with all the time, any of that, because I think that education piece is so important. And I want to thank you for giving us a platform to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shauna, for, telling us all about the work that you do. It's just really so important. It's critical to our community, and we appreciate you guys. We appreciate everything that you're doing. And thank you so much for your time, being willing to be interviewed today. So thank you so much, Shauna. And thank you so much, viewers, as well, for tuning in. I just want to remind everyone that this video, it has been streaming live to our LinkedIn and YouTube, where we are at Downtown Stockton. It has also been streaming live to X, where we are at Downtown STKN. And with that, I just want to say thank you again to you, Shauna, and thank you, viewers, and have a great day downtown. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.